So next up, our last presentation of the day from Gary Grimes and Nicholas Perry. Gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome. Fingers crossed that you do not experience the same gremlins that we've had going on so far. Now, Gary, you're a longtime email geek turned product guy, and you're senior director of consumer. I don't know why I'm telling you this. You know this. I'm telling everybody else this. So, a longtime email geek turned product guy, Gary Grimes is senior director of consumer product at CareerBuilder. A creative problem solver at heart, Gary likes to build things from fun memories with his wife and 2 boys in the Atlanta area to innovative engagement solutions that help people build their careers with CareerBuilder. And Nicholas is director of consumer email product at CareerBuilder. With over 20 years experience, he has worked on improving user experience in apps, websites, machine learning solutions, APIs. Can you really improve user experience with APIs? We'll get into that later. And now email and messaging. Gentlemen, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Skip, Kath, and team. And technical issues aside, I hope that we can follow Sylvia's amazing presentation. That was super insightful. So thank you for that, Sylvia. So yeah, let me share my screen here, and we'll get right into it. So can we see my screen here?
Yes.
Skip. Okay. So today we'll be talking about a case study that we worked with SparkPost on. Obviously, SparkPost is our email service provider and has just been a tremendous partner for CareerBuilder for many years now. In our case study, we've titled it Deliverability, from the simple to complex. Some of the simple things around engagement and personalization to the more complex around sending configuration, setup, and managing distributed sender networks for our customers. So as Skip introduces, thank you, Skip. I'm Gary Grimes, Senior Director of Consumer Product at CareerBuilder. Nicholas is Director of Product for our email program at CareerBuilder. A little bit about CareerBuilder. I mean, we are a household name. CareerBuilder's been around for 25 years. Offices around the United States, Canada, Europe, and Asia. You may know us from our job board, but we also provide labor market information, talent management software for recruiters, hiring managers, employers, and other recruitment-related services. We've been a SparkPost customer since 2015, and as I mentioned, they've been just a tremendous partner for us to advance our email program over the years. We send a lot of email, not quite the approaching 1 billion per month that change.org does, but quite a lot nonetheless. I like to describe our email program as 3 real buckets. It's B2C, so that's CareerBuilder to consumers. These are folks not unlike yourselves who periodically are looking for jobs. So they come to the CareerBuilder job board and look for employment opportunities. There's also B2B. These are CareerBuilder to our customers. So these may be hiring managers or recruiters looking for candidate matches for their jobs. And then there's the B2B to C, or the marketplace, where CareerBuilder doesn't really control the messaging per se, more so facilitates the conversation amongst employers and candidates engaging with each other about opportunities. So with that, I want to talk with this, the 3 buckets of kind of our email program, the B2C, B2B, and B2B2C. There's quite a bit of complexities and challenges that we tackle at CareerBuilder in terms of email. I'll speak to a couple of these and kick it over to Nicholas to talk about the others. So as I mentioned, we have a distributed network, particularly with the B2B and B2B2C products. Many of our customers are not email marketers. In fact, most of them are not. They're excellent recruiters. They're great at engagement around jobs, but they're not They're not building HTML email templates. They're not deliverability experts. They're not as educated on list hygiene and so on. So we try to abstract that away for our customers and make that easy for them. And one of the initiatives that we tackled starting about 2 years ago, but really completed in earnest last year was we consolidated virtually all of our email into SparkPost and set up sub-accounts for each of our customers so that we had a consolidated view of all of our email program across CareerBuilder, B2B, B2C, B2B2C, all in one enterprise SparkPost account. We had migrated from other ESPs as well as multiple enterprise SparkPost accounts into the one, gave each customer their own subdomain, but we'll go a little bit into the solution later. Nicholas, you want to talk about some of the other challenges?
Sure. So to that point, having all of these different customers, all these recruiters using our systems, having a bunch of different products, a bunch of different product lines ourselves as well, and using a bunch of different tech solutions, it really just meant a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of time spent by the product team, the dev team, support team, having to figure out, what was going on when something didn't go as expected. And so, that was a really big challenge for us because not easy to troubleshoot, especially when it's half external, half internal. Also, list hygiene is, it will mention, IP reputation and just, your lists are critical pieces of the different companies look at, and having all these companies using, and they all have their own suppression lists and other things like that, keeping those segmented was also a big challenge. And then I think Gary can talk about the competitive intel challenges.
Yeah, and we had done competitive intel, probably many on these lines has kind of hacked that together in a manual way, and that's what we did with CareerBuilder as well. So we were signing up on competitive sites, both as recruiters and as job seekers, trying to mimic that experience that their customers have, going on our competitive sites, doing inbox studies, using the Gmail alias to kind of aggregate a lot of these email experiences into one inbox that we can analyze and segment and create reports on, what our competition is doing, so that we are understanding, like, we're keeping up with what's going on in our marketplace, trying to find our competitive advantages, and also identifying issues where we're not doing as well as some of our competitors are. That's been an enormous help with SparkPost acquisition of the we've really had to been able to kind of move beyond a lot of those manual competitive research projects. So as I mentioned at the top, is so some of these things we'll show you here are simple, and hopefully they reinforce some of the things that you're already doing. Hopefully you get a few new ideas as well. Some of them are quite complex, may or may not be applicable to your scenarios, as oftentimes we're serving our customers much like an email service provider like SparkPost does for us and all of you, many of you here on the call. So, reiterating what others have said here is, we really focus on only sending the most valuable and highly personalized emails. Nicholas, do you want to talk about a couple of these examples?
Sure. Yeah. So starting with the basics, want to send valuable content that's engaging to the right users at the right time. So we have a few different this is the B2C. So this is us sending to our consumers, job seekers. They're looking for a job, and we want to send them the right message where they are in the job journey. So we give a few examples here of both proactive and reactive. So the proactive or marketing messages, essentially the one on the left is our dynamic job recommendation. So when a customer posts a job to the site, we use some AI algorithms to determine really just a handful of the best candidates for that job that are also candidates that are currently looking and active on the site in an email. And we send them this email. This is very high open rate, high click rate, high engaging email because it's to the right people that are actually in the market looking, and it's really just the best of the best matches. So this is a proactive one. The user hadn't done anything but other than register and give us their profile and whatnot. Then the reactive or transactional, there's a lot of these where a user will apply to a job, and they want to get a confirmation that the application went through. So we send them an application confirmation email, and we also include some jobs that are similar to the job they just applied to. So maybe different than our job recommendations where it's tailored to the user. You might be switching careers, something like that. So if you actually apply to this job here in this location of this type, then we'll send you other ones, similar type of jobs, similar locations. And again, that's where they're reactive. We have a whole handful of different email campaigns that we send. These are 2 examples of those. But again, both proactive and reactive based on the user, what we know about them. And I think, Gary, you want to talk a little bit more about how we personalize these even further?
Yeah, that's right. So on the right here, you see what we refer to as an after apply campaign. It's transactional. It confirms your application, which is really important for a job seeker to know, hey, my application I just submitted was indeed received and sent on to the employer. So it's good peace of mind. As we were analyzing the data of this, one of our top performing campaigns, we were like, well, how can we improve this even further, right? We're getting above 30% open rates on this one. And, we felt like perhaps we could even do better on this. We saw that, as many of us here on the call probably experienced ourselves, like when you're applying, when you're in job application mode, you're applying to multiple jobs, perhaps in one sitting, certainly over the course of a few days. And we noticed that a lot of recipients were receiving multiple after apply emails within a short period of time, such as a few minutes or a few hours. And so what we did is, well, is there any way we can kind of gamify that? Is there any way we can make that a little bit more engaging, a little bit more interesting versus the same subject line and sometimes even the same similar jobs that we do try to mix those up as well. And one very simple thing that we came up with and we saw have a huge impact on open rates and engagement on the after apply email was just to mix up the subject lines, right? So we were able to use marketing automation platform Iterable, which kind of sits on top of our SparkPost account. And we have an evergreen split test going on right now, actually. Which is just how we implemented it. So we have multiple subject lines. And if a job seeker comes in one 24-hour session, we will automatically rotate through these subject lines in this order. So you have the first one, maybe application received. The next one is, nice work, April. Shall we go for one more application? Wait, April. April, you get 2 thumbs up. Amazing hustle, April. Another application in the book. So even though we're not, always mixing up the content of this email, we are mixing up the subject lines to keep each one a bit more engaging. And we see that what was once a diminishing returns on some of these after apply emails, we're able to keep that right across all these multiple emails. Nicholas, you want to talk about individualization in the B2B to C email campaigns?
Sure. Now your screen isn't showing up for me anymore. I'm not sure if it's just me or everybody.
Okay. Is that still the case? Still can't see?
I see the first slide now. Yeah. Or Holistic Marketing presenting the first slide.
How about now?
Go to the one after where we were on the has one email on it. Probably about slide 7-ish.
Slide 9. I've got it on
slide
my
9.
screen.
Yeah, yours isn't showing, but Holistic Marketing is presenting.
Perhaps you.
Here we go. Okay, so those are the B2C ones that we fully control. We can control every part of it, right? But we also have the B2B2C. So recruiters, we're a marketplace. Recruiters can connect with candidates and match up to find the right match for their jobs, and jobs find a great job. Job seekers find a great job for themselves. So we have a unified message center that allows recruiters to reach out to candidates, and they can reply back and forth. So we have this message that goes out to them, and we can't control the body of it other than some formatting or link things like that. So what we can do though is we could not personally but individualize to make sure that we at least set them up to have success. So we put in your name, we put the give you the context about what the subject was, when it was sent, who sent it, what company they're from. So we do some things like that around it to try to give you that context, and then we put in the message of the recruiter, and it's really working out well for us. We have also above 30% open rate on this email that we really don't control the content of, and a high click rate, et cetera. So we got really engaging, one of our most engaging emails, because candidates really want to hear from recruiters, and we're able to make sure that they understand what this is and have that context they can respond appropriately. So this is again, about having good content and just setting up the right basics.
Thank you, Nicholas. Are you seeing my screen now?
No, we see the next slide from marketing. I don't know if you can take control or they can just go for us. Do you see it, Gary? What we're seeing?
Okay. Yes, it looks like if you're controlling it for the presenter level, we'll keep going. So we've all been on the other. We've all been on the job seeker side, and we've all been on the hired and happy side. Okay, yeah, we've got the presentation slides up now. So as Nicholas mentioned, job seekers really want to hear from recruiters, especially when they're actively job seeking. However, if they're hired and happy, we've all been on that side of things too, is, maybe we don't want to hear from recruiters as much. And so, we do a lot of implicit and explicit analysis and segmentation around job seekers' implicit and explicit preferences. So, we found that, really one of the best ways to put the job seekers in control is to ask them what they want. And next slide, please. So, what we built, one of the things we worked on over the past year was to break out our preference center, our contact preference center, our subscription management pages into more granular options. So it's not as it was before, like, do you want to receive marketing emails? Do you even know what marketing emails really mean as a job seeker? Are you open to receiving surveys about our product? Do you want to receive recruiter messages from the thousands of recruiters and hundreds of thousands of recruiters using our platform, and so on? We really broke those out to be more granular, and you can control that. This is, we used some of the competition, but also others in the marketplace to kind of guide some of our assumptions that we needed to validate in the wild in CareerBuilder. So you would be familiar with these types of granular settings on, say, a Facebook or other social networks. So one of the things that we're highlighting here is we have the three main categories broken out into jobs, which are primarily marketing style messages, more of the proactive. And then you have also your account activity. And those are mostly the reactive messages. Perhaps some are reactive triggered, some are reactive transactional. Even though some may be classified as transactional, we still provide subscription options for many of those. And finally, you have insights around, your pay, jobs of the market outlook, and so on in your area and in your industry. So what we've highlighted here is we don't just leave it at this. We in fact let you go one layer deeper, at least for recruiter messages, and so we can you can specify which companies and which channels you wish to hear from those companies. So you really can control your experience. This gives CareerBuilder and Nicholas and his team just a robust set of personalization options when creating campaigns. Nicholas, I talked a little bit about the explicit signals we get from job seekers on the previous slide, but we also, of course, have a lot of implicit signals that we respect.
Sure. So we all know not everybody goes to the profile page, manages their preference, wants to spend that time, or even knows about it. And sometimes, people give incorrect email addresses, either a typo or they don't want to get spammed or other reasons. And so we also look at the implicit signals and make sure that we manage our list that way as well. So one of the things we do is if an email user registers for the account, or uses their email for some sort of alert or whatnot, if they don't engage in any email, over the first 45 days, then we go ahead and remove them from the list. These people, they may be active users of the sites, but they're just not into email, and so there's no reason for us to keep sending to somebody that's not going to be, enjoying the content anyway. So we remove that from the list. So that prevents us from having to do a double opt-in when we start, which can be a lot of friction for users. But we still remove those invalid emails via this process if no one ever is engaging. So that's one of the things we do. The other thing we do is, there is a cycle to the job seeker. Like Gary says, sometimes you're hired and happy. So, if you don't have any site activity or email activity, so we tie those two together. If you don't have either one of those, then you're just not in the job market and you're not interested in our career advice or other things that we're sending, then, maybe we shouldn't be sending to you for now. And so we take you off our list after 12 months of no site or email activity. And then if you come back and start using the site again because you're back in the market, then we can start sending to you again. But there's no reason, again, to send to the void. We want engaged users receiving our emails. We don't want to just artificially pump our numbers by sending to people that are not engaged anymore. The other thing is, of course, bounce management. Hard bounces are removed right away. It's pretty standard practice, but also soft bounces. We get 7 soft bounces in a 2-week period. We also go ahead and remove those from the list because that email account just, isn't working right now. So there's no reason to keep sending to them and keep getting bounces. So these are some of the implicit things that we're doing. We're trying to follow the basics of let's have a good list hygiene. Let's send to good, active, engaged users who want our content. And so these are things that we do. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah.
So oh man, I wish I had my deck up here, but I've modified this one just a little bit, but it's still accurate. I just added to it. But, we, as I mentioned before, we really were going through a lot of manual processes to keep up with the competition. What are we doing poorly versus the competition? Where can we do better? And again, we were using the common Gmail alias, Gary Grimes plus, insert competitor name at Gmail. So I can look at all of the competition's email within the one inbox and create inbox studies there for ourselves and for competition. What SparkPost has done for us is we're able to use their eData source platform that they've acquired to and integrated with their system to look at our competitors on a real-time basis. We can not only see, what you see here is, what are their most active sending days, what are their most active sending times. We can get into the actual content of, say, what Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Monster, and others are doing, and I'm sure those of those customers who use SparkPost are doing the same with us. But this has given us invaluable insight into what our competitors are doing, what we're doing poorly compared to them, and maybe where we have competitive advantage currently or have an opportunity to create some competitive advantage. So next slide. Next slide. So as I alluded to before, we have multiple business units. Oops, one back, please. Yeah, centralization. So we have multiple business units and products. We've gone over the B2C, B2B, and B2B2C, but we also have applicant tracking system and a CRM software that we sell to our customers, recruiters, and employers for CareerBuilder. And these were very disparate systems, different ESPs, multiple enterprise SparkPost accounts, and so on. We have consolidated those all into a single enterprise SparkPost account. Each of the customers and products have unique sub-accounts. We have over 7,000 sub-accounts, I believe, currently in our SparkPost, and it's kind of ever-growing. We actually use their account DIDs as their names. And one of the big benefits here is that we are able to empower other teams to investigate issues around deliverability and other things for our customers. So no longer do these issues or customer complaints or anything like that come into the email product team. They can be kind of headed off on our customer-facing support teams who have access to SparkPost, understand how our infrastructure is set up, and can investigate and typically mitigate, remediate issues prior to sending them on to the product team. So that's been a huge benefit and time saver for CareerBuilder. Next slide. One additional benefit of our infrastructure is it used to be quite a lot of trouble, or I should say effort, to do custom sending configuration for our customers. Some of our more sophisticated, larger enterprise customers, really want to have their sending domain be used in the products that we offer. And perhaps even dedicated IPs to their email. And the most sophisticated also want DMARC compliance for their email program. So setting it up in how we have in a single enterprise account with sub-accounts dedicated to the customer, we were very easily able to fulfill DMARC compliance and even as an upsell for our customers. Next slide, please. So, as we mentioned, we have this distributed sending model. Not only are our customers separated into their own sub-accounts by product, but we also have a set of IP pools that our customers can flow into and out of based on their reputation scores, and we're programmatically moving customers through those IP configs. Nicholas, you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Sure. So if you think back to April's Gmail reputation funnel, at the top, most important was IP reputation, and some of the other items were the template, the content, and the subscriber lists, which we don't really control those things with these customers, right? In B2B2C, they control the template, the content, and their subscriber lists. But what we could control is that critical IP reputation for our customers and protect those that have good templates, content, and lists. And so what we do is we have all these sub-accounts. Everyone's on their own sub-account, which helps for the suppression lists and those sort of things. But we also have it where as they come in, they start using our systems, we put them in our medium bucket. And then based on their engagement rates, their opens, clicks, spam, complaints, those bounces, those sort of things, they can flow down to the low if they're not doing such a good job, or they can move up to the high bucket if they really sending engaged, targeted emails to the right people. And so that way we're protecting the customers that really are sending those, following the best practices, sending that good stuff. And then the ones that aren't doing such a good job get grouped together as well, and they can flow in and out. It's not as often, it's not quite as long of a time period as 90 days like Gmail. We do a lot shorter time period, but we have a cadence that we look back at and see how they're doing, and we can move them up and down accordingly. This has really helped to ensure high deliverability rates, for these, especially for the medium and high tiers, and protects our customers. They're really investing a lot of time and energy into their lists and their templates and all that as they use us as their ESP. We want to make sure that we're able to give them the best deliverability we can based on their content. So it's worked really well for us. And so to the results, can you go one more slide? We've had really good results. Our engagement metrics are, our recipients, our engagement metrics are way up, opens, clicks, spam complaints are down, sending to the right people at the right time, managing that list have really improved those engagement metrics, right? Another thing with all the B2B2C stuff we've done is we virtually eliminated all of our deliverability related customer tickets. We were spending weeks, months of dev and product and support time every year on trying to troubleshoot all these items when they were all together, in across multiple systems and whatnot. It's really hard to troubleshoot those and figure out where the issue is on the customer side, on our side, on the SparkPost side, whatever. But now it's, it's all segmented. There's a sub account for each account. And so our support team actually can go in and they do get an issue. They can go into SparkPost, look at that account and see exactly what happened. So basically nothing flows to us anymore. It's really saved us so much more time so we can work on actual, improvements. Again, our deliverability, we were having some inboxing rate going to, low 90s and whatnot, but now they've all returned 99% plus. We're using eData source to monitor those as well, and we can do it on the campaign level. So, our inboxing rates have gone way up since we started with hygiene and we started making sure that we follow these best practices. The other thing is, as we talk about, we're culling our audience, those that don't reply, those that haven't engaged in a while. And so might be worried that, you're reducing your list size is shrinking, but actually it's been growing with this. Because before, you keep sending to somebody, you start to get unsubscribes or your inboxing goes down. So then you're not delivering to as many people. But by having this good hygiene, we're only sending to the people that are actually interested and are engaged. And we're culling out the bad email addresses or the really long ones and the bounces. Our numbers are going up in terms of how many people we're actually reaching, how many people are opening, how many people are clicking. And so it's been great results for us across the board. Gary, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, nothing to add. Just well said. Really, on behalf of Nicholas and myself, I really appreciate and thank you for letting us be a part of today's event. Thank you to Kath and April and the team for putting this amazing event together.
Thank you very much.
And I'm back. All right. Excellent. Guys, that was a great presentation. There's some really good chat going on. I don't know if you saw that. And apologies for your deck going away, but we muddled through in the end. For me, what I found fascinating, it was great to have those two case studies back to back, because you've got your case study, which is, you hit on it in the presentation. Both of you did. People are either in the job market or they're not. They're either hiring or they're not. And when they're not, they don't care about you or your brand, or because you really, sure, you have content about building your career and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of people aren't really that proactive, right? Whereas you have Change.org, is the other end of the spectrum, right? People go to Change.org to change their lives, change the world. That's a long-term thing. You can't change the world in a day, as they say. So, but I love there were a lot of similarities in what you both are doing, and I think it really comes down to just, deliverability comes down to really good fundamentals, and so I want to dig into that in the panel discussion, which is where we're going to go in the panel discussion, which is where we're going to go next.